First Class V here, back with another GCSS Army video, and today we're going to start our 15-part series on demand analysis. So this whole series is going to show you how to conduct a demand analysis from start to finish. If you haven't had a chance, please check out the shop stock series that we just completed, and this is to build on that. Okay, so the first step is to do the shop stock. So we're going to talk about demand analysis today. Like I said, today's video is just a demand analysis overview, and then we're actually going to build into all the individual steps on how to actually complete a demand analysis correctly so that you are the most equipped unit when it comes to your shop stock, bench stock, and keep you in the fight. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications for my upcoming videos. So without further ado, let's jump into demand analysis. Alright, so like I said, today's video is just a brief overview on SSL quarterly analysis and update, okay, demand analysis. So work order management, okay, bottom line up front, okay, there are several key processes that rely on work orders for data inputs, okay. Inventory management, capturing demands and man hours, accounting for major areas that rely on input from work orders. To accurately capture consumption in GCSS Army, it's important to establish a manageable work order process for all of your operations. Okay, so everything you do when it comes to work orders, you need to make sure you have a process in place. So consumptions is captured through MyGo 261 movement types. Okay, so I know a lot of y'all use 201, but that's wrong. You're not going to capture consumptions with a 201 movement code. You have to use a 261 movement code. So in other words, okay, you might issue material to a work order for it and count towards your 12-month consumption period, okay? So just a key tip, a good battle rhythm is to run your demand analysis in conjunction with your quarterly SSL inventory, okay? Make sure you conduct your physical inventory first and ensure it's accurate. All right, so regulatory guidance, all right? So following information everything I'm teaching you guys can be found in AR 710-2, all right? So maintenance supply policies, okay? So support maintenance facilities are authorized a limited amount of expendable supplies and repair parts for efficient maintenance operations, such as issued from stock record account and use internal maintenance shop support, all right? So basically there's two types of maintenance related supplies. So we use shop stock, we use bench stock, okay? Your demand supported and your unpredictable used consumables. All right, different management policies apply to each of these. So I encourage you to reach out to your brigade and division to make sure that you are following their policies and procedures, and also go ahead and look in AR 710-2 and also the ForceCom interim on shop stock, bench stock guidance. So as we know, we do this quarterly, right? So the purpose is to analyze the consumption of materials and recommend the material line retentions, deletions, or additions to apply to the unit's SSL. So there is logic behind this, okay? So material requirements or MRP forecasting, demand analysis, and Plan 2000 is based on the MRP area additions, retention, deletion ratios, and cost band that have been set in GArmy, all right? So the following is what we use as ratios to establish if we can keep it on shop stock, add it, delete it, so forth. Okay, so tactical army, which is our active duty. So within 12 months, you have to have 6 material consumptions are required to add shop stock material to your SSL. If you have 3 or more consumptions, you're required to retain the shop stock, all right, at the unit level. If you have 2 or less, then that is a result of a deletion from your SSL. If you're National Guard or Reserves, within a 12-month period, you are required to have 2 material consumptions, all right, to keep it. You have 1 material consumption, you retain it, and then 0, you're going to delete it. And then for y'all, you special operation or special organizations out there, within a 12-month period, 3 material consumptions, you add it, 2 materials, you retain it, and then 0 consumptions, you're going to delete it. So here's some more business rules for you. So the transaction MRP is ZCOM Bravo transaction, okay? This is used to execute manually by maintenance managers or maintenance administrators or supply techs, or your MAST, okay? That's what we call a short with all the G-Army EUN plus pull roll stuff. So GCS Army analysis, the following MRP types in Plan 2000, okay? So you have basically 4 different types. You got ZV, PD, ZM, and ZP. If you haven't had a chance to check out my video on a explanation of all 4 of the MRP types, go ahead and do so, okay? It's in the Shop Stock video series. So like I said, ZV is your demand supported. These lines, now you can adjust the reorder points, right? But you cannot delete a demand supported line, okay? So all that's done at the SPO level. Your PD is all your stuff that comes in regularly. Any parts you order should come in as a PD MRP type. Your ZM are your command adds, okay? So this is stuff that your commander wants you to add. Your ZPs is your provisional or new equipment fielding. So for an example, my unit, we just got the new pistols to replace the M9. So according to regulation of what is required, your all of our special stock or stock for those items, we're required to put a ZP for a minimum of 2 years. So the new pistols, like they come with 2 different types of pistol grips. That second set of pistol grips needs to make sure that it's in a ZP provisional new equipment MRP type. All right. So once MRP batch type has reached the status of finish, okay, so once you run your ZCOM Bravo, then you're going to display the forecasting requirements of ZCOM 1 Delta transaction, okay, and that's again used by your maintenance managers and MATs to display and resolve and export it to Microsoft workbook. So I'm going to show you guys how to do in another video, Microsoft Excel, how to actually do the analysis part, the analyzer. All right. It's recommended where you add 2 columns to the workbook to capture the following. One, you're going to add a remarks column, confirmation rejections or reorder points and safety points. And then you add another column for retention, deletion calculations, okay? So when we talk in terms of who's responsible for what, so this does not all fall on your ERP clerk, okay? So as a maintenance manager, you need to be involved and you actually have some key tasks, okay? So if you're a maintenance manager or tech, all right, so you supply the maintenance or the Microsoft Excel workbook to the commander for approval, okay? If the commander requires changes to the workbook, changes are captured by the ERP, and then the approved Excel workbook is applied to the maintenance manager or tech, and so forth. If you're the ERP, you must perform any safety stock quantity adjustments. So if you have, let's say your reorder point set at 27, or demand analysis saying, hey, set it at 27, and your commander's like, no, that was a one-time fluke. We had all these shortages. I don't want to stock 30 of these things. So he'll be able to adjust that, okay? And that's through the ZSAF transaction. Then once they're done that, okay, so you'll do your ZA, what would happen? You'll do your ZATF transaction. Then your maintenance manager, maintenance supervisor, or the ERP request the commander's approval. So everything you do, the commander needs to be signing off on, okay? Keep that in mind because that's important to file it, especially for like the AMI. Everything needs to be filed in accordance with ARMS, okay? Just like your shop stock inventories, they're to be signed by the commander as well. All right, so here is the actual flow chart, okay? So this whole series is going to be built off this flow chart. So first thing you do is shop stock quarterly MRP forecast demand analysis review required. Okay, that's what we're doing. So if you look here at the top of here, and if you guys want to copy this PowerPoint, just reach out to me with your email, and I will happy to get this to you. And then all the documents are embedded in here for you to make it easy for you. Okay. So the first step for the ERP is to run the MRP forecasting requirement. Okay, ZCOM Bravo. And then from there, the ERP's going to verify completion status. Okay, so SMX is the T code. So like I said, we're going to get further into this. Each one of these tasks is what we're going to focus on. But one key thing that I've known with the SMX, so most units, especially when they're doing their shop stock inventories, they're not letting the report finish. They're running the report and they're immediately thinking, hey, it's good to go, right? give it some time. Make sure you go in there, because you can actually go into ZMX and verify that it's actually finished. Okay, so from there, this is the status of the batch code finished. Yes. So then we're going to go to our next step, which is display and export the MRP forecasting requirement in ZCOM1 Delta. All right. So we're going to do a video on that. And then I'm going to show you guys how to provide the Microsoft Excel spreadsheet to the maintenance manager or the tech for analysis. From there, I'm going to show you guys how to format it and put in an Excel spreadsheet to capture the required modifications, whether it be add, delete, or retain. And from there, we're going to provide the Microsoft Excel spreadsheet to the commander for approval. Okay. And from there, so depending on what the commander does, he can either change it, or he can reject it, or he can approve it, right? So we're gonna, for the video series, we're gonna actually go through and do the change portion. So we're gonna apply all the changes to the commander's spreadsheet, and we're gonna capture the commander's signature. So it's important that you capture the commander's signature at this point, okay? And then, like I said, if you want this video, all the stuff is here. Just all you're gonna have to do is double click and you'll be able to get into it. So this technical bulletin or training bulletin here is going to help you understand and format your Excel document to run the ZCOM1. All right. So for step 4, we're going to process the MRP forecasting requirements. Okay. So we'll be in ZCOM1, and then we'll go down to delete material SSL adjustment safety stocks. If, like I said, if there are any safety stocks that need to be adjusted, we're going to make sure that all that is complete. Then we're going to change the safety stocks to ZSAF, and then we're going to display and print the ZATF. Okay, so once everything is done, that's what we're going to do. We're going to print it, and then we're going to put the final product together and have the commander sign it and capture it. Then once that's done, our shop stock quarterly MRP demand analysis is complete. All right, so as you can see, it's a lot of steps, but the more you do it, the faster you'll get it and the easier you'll get. There's a lot of language lingo, you know, all the different letters and what they mean. We're going to break down all that. We're going to step by step. So a couple examples here. So like I said, if you want this PowerPoint, just click on it. It's going to show you how to actually do your ZCOM1 Delta so that it captures the commander's signature. All right. And then I'll go in a second and I'll show you that. So just to reiterate here, okay, the process only works if your team is disciplined. So the whole point of demand analysis is to capture the consumption and see if there's a trend and make sure that your stock is where it should be. Like I said, by ensuring a 261 movement type versus a 201. It's very common for units to make inventory adjustments using 201, okay? Again, this movement code will not count as a demand. So let me go back in here and I'm going to show you an example of the MRP forecast. So, all right, so this is an example on how you would do it. It's material description, safety stock on hand, reorder point, MRP, and the type, ZV or ZM. And then basically all you would do is you go number of ATF lines, zero balance, so forth, okay? You're just going to put your commander signature block and you'll be able to sign it just like that. So like I said, I hope this video was helpful. We're going to continue building on this. This is just a brief overview. Like I said, all these different T codes and all these different steps, we are actually going to go in and we are going to deep dive, if that's what you want to call it. All right. So I hope this video was helpful. Stay tuned for the upcoming videos in this section. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that bell. And like I said, if you have any ideas or some stuff you want to learn, or if you have knowledge you want to share with me or anyone else in the group, leave the comments down below. Okay, so like I said, there's more than one way and more than one way to interpret stuff in GCS's Army. Okay, there's a lot of what ifs and so forth. So like I said, the more knowledge we can share, the better. That's the whole point of this channel. So without further ado, y'all, go Ordnance. what's going on again, guys? I'm First Class V here, back with another GCS's Army helpful video. And today we're going to continue our series on demand analysis with part 2. So today we're going to run the MRP forecasting requirement batch job manually, okay? So to do this, we're going to use ZCon Bravo. So let's go ahead and jump into GCSS Army here. Alright, so the T code that we're going to be working in is ZCon Bravo, right? So we use this transaction anytime we're doing a material planning forecasting, okay? So this transaction must be run prior to any forecasting requirements in ZCon 1 Delta or ZCon 1, depending on the size of the unit. This batch may take several hours to complete, all right? So like I stated when we were doing the shop stock, bench stock, one area that the units fail to do is they may run this report, but they do not let the report finish. So make sure you let your report finish. All right, so like I said, so all you're gonna need to do here is just go ahead and put in your plant and your MRP area. So if you don't know your MRP area, there's several ways you can actually get your MRP area. One, you can go to ZFE. You can pull from there through the DODAC, or go to your material situation report and scroll all the way over to the right, and that's where you will find your MRP area. All right, so like I said, some of the business trigger for this, the performance transaction, when you need to run your demand analysis, all right, and according to regulation, maintenance managers, supervisors, or techs, you must perform a quarterly demand analysis of the unit's stock listing. So once our plant's in here, MRP area is in, all we're going to do is run. So when you get this little box right here, information, batch code, ZCon Bravo is running, check the batch has finished with transaction Sierra Mike Extra, okay? So that is going to be our step 3. So I do want to show you one thing here. So we go back to ZCon Bravo. In the event that you are running multiple MRP areas, you can actually do multiple MRP areas at once, and it will run individually. All right, so all you do is you load your first one, and then you would load your other MRP areas here. And like I said, when you go to execute the report, if you have 5 or 6 MRP areas that you're doing a demand analysis for, it will run each MRP area, and then when we get to part 3, you would see it listed there. All right, so I hope this video was helpful. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and stay tuned for the next video on demand analysis. And as always, go Ordnance. Guys, I'm First Class V here, back with another GCS's Army helpful tip and video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when my other videos have been posted and uploaded. So today we're going to continue our series on demand analysis with step 3, and that's just to verify the completion of the status of our own job of the background process, and then we ran from the previous step. So there's 2 ways you can do this. I'm going to show you 2 different ways. One going through the main screen of GCS's Army, and the other using the T code Sierra Mike X-ray. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into step 3 of demand analysis. So step 3 in demand analysis is just to verify the completion of the background job that we previously ran. Okay, so to perform this, there's 2 ways. You can do it through Systems menu bar up here on Own Jobs, or you can type in SMX in the command field. So I'm going to show you both ways. So go up to System here, go to Own Jobs. So as you see, this is the ZCon Bravo report that we ran in a previous video right here. So one thing you want to make sure is before you move to step 4 is to verify the status of this job is finished. All right, that's critical. All right, make sure it's finished. That way you have a correct demand analysis. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the second way to do this. And all you're going to type in is 0. And as you see, it shows up again. Like I said, make sure that the job is finished. That way you can move to step 4 of the process. So I hope this video was helpful. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Check out the previous videos, especially the shop stock inventory. So stay tuned for more videos coming on demand analysis as we continue the series on demand analysis. So without further ado, go Ordnance. Going in, guys, our first class V here, back with another GCS's Army helpful tip and video. And today we are on step 4 of our demand analysis. All right, so if you haven't watched the previous videos, make sure that you get caught up so you're ready for step 4. So step 4, all we're going to do is display and export the MRP forecast requirements for Plan 2000. All right, so the T code we're going to be using is ZCon 1 Delta. So this step 4, this part 4, is actually, we're going to break it up into three key parts. So the first video, I'm going to show you how to display and export, and then the second part of the video, I'm going to show you what the headers mean on the actual report, and then what all of the columns mean and all the language that goes with it. So without further ado, let's jump into GCS's Army and display and export the ZCon 1 Delta. Alright, let me back out of here for you. So our T code is ZCon Delta. So all you're going to need to know here is your MRP area, and like I told you in a previous video, if you don't know your MRP area, you can find it in your material situation report by scrolling all the way to the right, or you can go through ZFE and search by your DODAT. Alright, so you're going to type in your MRP area, and you're going to hit execute. So here is your ZCon 1 Delta report, okay? So in order for us to actually export this, we need to make sure we select the correct layout, because the way the Microsoft Excel Analyzer is built, it has to have a certain layout. All right, so to do this, you're going to click the little button here that says choose layout. And then what you're looking for is this right here, the PM ZCon 1. This is your default, okay? So this one, don't click this one because that's going to be for Plan 2001. We're in Plan 2000. And you're going to hit execute. So that's going to give you the correct layout to export it to Microsoft Excel. All right, so keep that in mind. So once we're here, all you're going to do is you can highlight it all, right click, you can do it this way, or you can go here to export. And we're going to export the spreadsheet. All right, so once we have the spreadsheet up, all you're going to type is SSL, and then whatever the plant number would be. I'm sorry, the MRP area. And then you're going to do the date. And this is 04/4/18/2021. All right, make sure you save it to your desktop or a folder that you know where you can find it. Always allow. Allow again. now it's running the report and is exporting it to Excel to get ready to do one of our final steps, which is actually formatting this cell. So I hope this video was helpful. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And like I said, the next couple of videos, we're actually going to break down all of what this means and so forth. All right, so without further ado, go ordinance. So I'm First Class V here, back with another GCS's Army helpful video, and today we're going to continue our series on demand analysis with part 5 of our series. So just to recap how we got to part 5, the first thing we did was we did a demand analysis overview. Just gave a brief overview of what demand analysis was and why we perform it. Then we ran our ZCon Bravo report, and then we ensured that we verified that the background job in SMX was completed and finished before we displayed and exported the ZCon 1 Delta report, which leads us to today's lesson in understanding the headers of the ZCon report. I think this it's critical that we understand the headers and columns before we actually format our Microsoft Excel workbook in order to actually perform the demand analysis. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Like I said, once we get through this demand analysis series, we'll be starting our ARM series, which is going to be a beast. All right. So let me share my screen here. All right. So before we get started, I do want to show you guys the current videos that are currently up on the channel here. Okay. So these are all of the videos that we have currently covered. Like I said, more videos are coming. As soon as we get through this demand analysis, we are going to jump into our ARM series. All right. So today's lesson is understanding each column in the ZCon 1 Delta report. So I think this is critical. Like I said, we need to understand what the columns mean in order to actually understand the workbook. So we're going to break it down column by column and header by header. So in this one, we're going to cover the headers. So if you look here, so when you run the ZCon 1 Delta report, you'll have a top portion that's going to cover all the stuff right here, all these blocks, and then you're going to have all the additional columns underneath of it. All right. So starting at the left, we're going to talk about ASL shop stock lines. Okay. So this identifies the total number of lines in the unit shop stock listing, or SSL. Okay. So keep in mind these only cover your MRP types, so ZV, ZM, and ZP are included. Okay, and calculated in this number. Material lines that have a bench stock indicator are not calculated. Okay, this is just calculating your shop stock. So to the right of the ASL shop stock lines, you have with confirmed. Okay, so this identifies the number of materials that are currently confirmed on the unit's SSL. All right, so like I said, only materials with ZV, ZM, and ZP are included. Bench stock does not. So when it talks about the plant, that's pretty self-explanatory. Plant 2000 for us. If your SSA, it's plant 2001. And then your MRP area is the alphanumeric code of your unit's MRP area. So if you're a maintenance manager and you are constantly looking at other shop stock and mat sits, I recommend that you have a cheat sheet or something with all of your units' MRP areas. So the next portion of the header we're going to break down is the adds. Okay, so when we're talking about adds, this is the total number of material lines that are being proposed. So with the demand analysis ran, this is what it's saying. Hey, for instance, on this one, it's saying that I propose we add 45 lines of SSL. Okay, so confirmed is the number of material lines that is currently confirmed on your unit's SSL. So that's the current number you have right now. When it talks about the dollar amount to the right of that, this identifies the total dollar amount of confirmed materials. So out of the 15 lines that we have here, we got a little over $9,500 of confirmed SSL. All right. And then you're going to look at cube. So your cube is your feet required to confirm materials that have been added. So this data is pulled directly from the material master in GArmy and ACIP. All right, keep that in mind. And then your MRP area, like I've said before, you know what that is. And then the as of date. So the as of date is the date that you actually run the batch job in ZCOM Bravo. So moving on to the delete side of the house. All right, so for deletes, this identifies the total number of lines that are being proposed as deletions. Okay, so like I said, it's running an analysis. So it's saying that there's 149 lines that need to be deleted. All right, so, and like I said, Zulu Victor, Zulu Mike, Zulu Papa does not include anything that has a bench stock indicator. It's strictly your SSL. All right, so confirmed is the number of material lines that are currently confirmed as deletion for the SSL. Same thing applies, same type of MRP areas, and it does not include bench stock indicators. And then your dollar amount, of course, is telling you how much total dollar amount is confirmed out of those. For example, 160 lines, 111,000 of them are going to be deleted. All right, and then your as of time, self-explanatory. That's the time you ran the ZCOM Bravo batch. So when we're talking about retains, hope y'all are seeing the trend here. Okay, so add, delete, retain, right? So when talking about retains, it's the total number of lines on your SSL that's being proposed that you retain. And then move over to confirm, the total number of lines is currently confirmed as retained on your SSL. All right, and then of course the price, where this is the total number of price of these 48 lines that is currently on your SSL. And then your cube, like I said, this identifies your it's pulled from your material master in GCSS Army. So I hope that video was helpful. So that one was pretty easy to understand, and the columns are a little bit more confusing. The header is pretty self-explanatory, but you need to make sure that you understand that the header before we move into the columns. Okay, so like I said, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications, and as always, go Ordnance. So I'm First Class V here, back with another GCS's Army helpful video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. So today, we're continuing our series on demand analysis with part 6 of our series on understanding what each column means on the ZCOM 1 Delta report. So I urge you, if you have not had a chance to look at the previous videos in the series, go ahead and do so. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into understanding each column on the ZCOM 1 Delta report. So the last two videos, understanding the columns and the headers, right? So this is building into actually doing our analysis workbook. So I think it's important we understand what the columns mean before we actually go into it. All right, so like I said, this is understanding each column in the ZCOM 1 Delta report. So if we look at your first column here, you got the exception. Okay, so basically you'll have 3 different color lights. You'll have green, yellow, and red. So the green light is 12 months of consumption, which follows the typical rules. If you have a yellow triangle in a 12-month consumption, which is followed by most rules, the material is shorted by a single month of consumption. So it doesn't meet that criteria to actually do stock. Red light means you are short more than 2 months of consumption, and if it's blank, it's short 3 or more months of consumption, and the material is supposed to be deleted. So basically, your material column here is just going to be your NIN, okay, what the equipment is or what the part is. Same thing with the description. It's going to provide a text description of the material NIN, and then add, delete, retain. So here, this identifies the material to be added, deleted, or retained in your SSL. So like I said, A is add, D is delete, R is for retain. So this column here Exclusion in identifies the material line has been excluded for confirmation and for approval. The material line's MRP forecast requirements are calculated when the MRP batch job ZCOM Bravo transaction was executed. So this is just pulling this stuff here. So currently the exclusion reasons are being utilized. So you could have two different codes here. You got alpha or delta, onboard spares, or diagnostic mandatory parts. All right. So going into the next part. So the ZPAR change reason. Okay, so this identifies the reason for the MRP type change, okay, being processed in your ZPAR. So I'm going to do a separate video on actually ZPAR and tell you what all these codes mean. All right. MTA, right, identifies material lines MRP type forecast ZCOM Bravo transaction. So this tells you what it was when we executed the ZCOM Bravo. MTC identifies materials line type either MRP forecasting ZCOM 1 or ZCOM 1 Delta, depending on the size of your unit. So the Bravo here, this column here, is just displays a single character if the material line has been identified as bench stock. So it should have defined a safety stock quantity, okay? So your previous MRP, like I said, is pretty self-explanatory. That's what the previous MRP type has been. The change date identifies the date the material line's MRP was last changed. This field is blank for all material lines that are being proposed as additions. So if you see a blank space here, it's usually going to indicate that it is an addition. MTS identifies material lines MRP type for SSA, okay? So it's going off of your ZCOM 1 or ZCOM 1 Delta. Your standard price identifies material for that price for one item, okay? So the max dollar. So this identifies the max dollar spent for each material line. And additions will be added to the unit's SSL for an additional amount spent for deletions will be removed from the unit's SSL. So the calculations are based on several formulas here. So additions for ZV lines is calculated standard price times adjusted calculation reorder point. Okay, deletions standard price times adjusted calculations. So you get the picture. As for your deletions, your retentions is going to be your standard price times your adjusted calculation reorder point. So going into the rest of the columns, UI is pretty self-explanatory. That's the basic unit of issue. So months, okay, so this identifies the number of months the material has been consumed within a 12-month period. So for example, the top one, we've consumed it 3 times in a 12-month period. All right, this identifies safety stock, identifies the material line, safety stock quantity requirements, right, calculated stack. Then you got your reorder point, identifies material line's current reorder point. So this is your current reorder point. So your calculated reorder point quantity is here, okay? This identifies what they are proposing that you have your reorder point set at. Adjusted calculated reorder point quantities can be adjusted for material lines that are being proposed as additions, okay? So the reorder points can only be adjusted to MRP forecasting requirement, which is your ZCOM 1 transaction. So you have your confirm here. So this indicates one of the following: selected or deselected. It's either going to confirm or not confirm your unit's SSL, and then approved indicates what, like I said, it's going to be really a 0 and a 1 code. I'm going to show you all that, but it's just letting you know if the material has been approved for processing or has not been approved for processing. All right, so WSD, okay, identifies material lines of weapon system designator, okay, it's an alphanumeric code. I'm going to do a separate video on this. Here, WSD description, just a description. MSP displays an X if the material has been identified as a maintenance significant part, okay? So if it's a significant part, it's going to be marked with an X. So your P here displays a P if the material line has been identified as a prime material. So for example, this top one here is identified as a prime material. So there is a interchangeable part for that, but this is the prime part for that. And of course, your SC column is your supply class material. So if you want to know more about these, you can go to DAPAM 708-2 and you can look it up there. Your AAC code, pretty self-explanatory. Identifies material lines, acquisition advice code. Okay, like I said, refer to DAPAM 708-2 for this. Essentiality code, identifies material lines code. Refer to 708-2. All right, so if you want to know more about these codes, let me know in the columns down below. But you can go to 708-2 and you can actually learn about that. So your maintenance repair code. So this identifies the maintenance repair code, okay? Like I said, 708-2. All right, so the last columns here, okay? So your band. Identify the materials lined cost band identifier, okay? So you're gonna have 4 different letters here. You could have Hotel, Lima, Mike, or November. Hotel will be your standard, L will be low density, M maintenance significant part, and non-essential, okay? So your ARC code identifies materials, lines, accounting requirements. If you want to learn more about that, go to DA PAM 708-2. And then your MACAT, okay? Your FSC, which is pretty self-explanatory, is the first part of your material number. Forecasting is pretty easy, so if we did have stuff that was going to be forecasted, the numbers would be right here. And then of course you got your MRP area and then your plant. So that is a rundown on each column of the ZCon 1 Delta report. Okay, so like I said, this is part 6 of the series. We've done all the background reports, getting all the stuff we needed, all the Excel documents. So our next series of videos is actually going to be doing the Microsoft Excel workbook, where we're actually going to conduct our demand analysis and make changes to our MRP areas. So I hope this video was helpful. Like I said, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And as always, go Ordnance. And guys, Sergeant First Class V here, back with another GCSS Army Help video. And today we're going to continue our demand analysis series with step 7, and that's formatting the Microsoft Excel workbook so you can give it to your maintenance manager so that he can capture the changes. And then hopefully your commander approves or disapproves depending on what your outcome is. But like I said, this is step 7. If you have not caught up to this point, make sure you go back to the previous video where we export the ZCon 1 Delta report so that we can actually do this Microsoft Excel workbook. So I have put together a PowerPoint presentation with step-by-step and pictures and all the stuff you need to actually do this Excel workbook. So if you'd like a copy of that, make sure you leave the comments down below. And by the way, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, hit the bell. We're going to finish our demand analysis series with the last few videos the next couple days. Then we're going to wrap up the access admin, and then we're going to move into dispatching and recoverables. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into Microsoft Excel. And I'm going to show you how to format this Microsoft workbook. All right, so keep in mind there's quite a bit of steps in this process. All right, so we're going to take it slow, step by step. I'm going to be using my PowerPoint that I created so that we can actually go through and do this, and we will go from there. All right, so first step, of course, is to go into and actually open up your document. Like I said, if you haven't watched the previous video, make sure you go in and figure out how to export it and use the correct layout when exporting. So once you open your document, right? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to highlight column alpha where it says exceptions. You're going to right click and you're going to just delete that out of there. All right, so that's the first step. The next step is we're going to select it all, right? So select all, you're going to hit this little button right here, and we're going to align everything left. All right. So once that's done, we're going to click the View tab up here at the top. We're going to highlight Delta 2, and we're going to freeze the panes to keep the top row. So when you scroll, as you see, the headers are still going to stay here, okay? So next step is we're going to go into the horizontal bar here. We're going to scroll all the way to the right till we find column Alpha India, right? So from here, you're going to go, we'll click back to the home page. You're going to go to Format. You're going to go to Column Width. We're going to set this column width to 50, 50. And you can hit Enter, you can hit OK. It doesn't really matter, all right? So once we're done that, you're going to click the Text Wrap button, all right? And align section toolbar to wrap the text in each cell. All right, so as you see, this is all wraps. So we can just keep typing, and we will go from there. So our next step is to find Alpha India 1, okay? So Alpha India 1, right? So where it says MACCAT, we're gonna rename it to Remarks. All right, so name it Remarks, and hit Enter, button validate data entry, all right? So the next column we're going to be working with is Alpha Juliet. So Alpha Juliet, we're pretty much going to do the same thing. You're going to go to Format, Cell Width. We're going to set this to 25. All right. So once that's done, we'll go from there. Now, we are still in Alpha Juliet. So from here, we're going to click Format Cells, right? Format Cells. And we're going to make sure that it's formatted to currency, okay? So we're going to format it to currency. Now, here for where it says FSC, we're going to rename this to SSL dollar amount. We're going to click Enter. All right, so we're about halfway through doing our Excel workbook, and now we're going to go from here. All right. So now if you click here, or anyone, you're going to go up to sort and filter. We're going to add filters. So this is going to give us the drop down menus and stuff we're going to use to actually cut and paste our changes that we're going to make in the system in the Army. All right, so we're going to drag our thing back to Alpha Juliet. All right, so press the down key will advance to the next cell. I'm sure you all know that, right? So that's how you're going to do that. So step 46, all right? So we're gonna sum up Alpha Juliet. So here all you're gonna do is you're gonna go equal sum. Now whatever you're starting at, which would be Alpha Juliet 2 for me, right? Comma, and then wherever you're ending. So I'm Alpha Juliet 12. Alpha Juliet 12. You're gonna hit Enter. Like it happen. Oh. Sum. You can do it that way, or what in the world? Highlight, Enter. So you put numbers in here, and it's going to change for you. Okay. So once that's done, we're going to click a certain headers here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make everything bold. All right. I want to make it bold. All right. I'm going to change certain cell colors to yellow. Okay. So when I go to standard price, I want this yellow. Calculated reorder point. I want that yellow. And then of course over here, I want the remarks and SSL dollar amount yellow. All right. So now, once that's done, where it says confirm approve, I'm going to change these to blue. All right. So I'm going to change that to blue. All right, so now we're doing some more formulas here, right? So this can get a little confusing. So the first step that we're going to do here is actually go to our Alpha Juliet column, right? And then here, we're going to type in the sum, which is your M2, right? Your M2 and V2. So your M2, so the standard price to your V2, which is your calculated reorder point. So it's pretty much this times this is going to give us this amount, and then down at the bottom will give us the total, all right? So when you go to SSL dollar amount, right, you're just going to type in equals sum, and you're going to type in your M2 times V2, enter. So now this is summing it up. So all we want to do here now, since we have this formula, you're going to click right here, and you're just going to drag all the way down. All right. So the next thing that I do is I add what I call a legend, right? So I'm going to use 3 different colors. So I'm going to use red, green, and then yellow. Yellow. All right. So red is delete line, green, no action required, and this is change reorder point or calculated reorder point. All right. So the reason I do this is to help my clerks understand what changes are going to have to be made. Same thing with my maintenance managers. So there's no second guessing of what is actually going to be added or deleted. Of course, I add a border around it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all this. I'm going to go here, format. I'm going to add all borders. So it cleans it up, makes it look like a nice report. All right. So in summary, this is how I format the Microsoft Excel workbook. So in our next video, we're actually going to go in here and put in values, you know, zeros, ones, and so forth. And from there, we can actually go ahead and actually post our differences inside of GCSS Army. One thing I've got to tell you, I do make these bold. All right. So this is the Excel workbook formatted. So any questions on this, please put your comments down below. Like I said, if you want a copy of this PowerPoint, which I'm getting ready to share with you guys in just a few seconds so that you can see, and then I'll pause a little between each slide. That way you guys can actually view it and go from there. So let me go ahead and share my screen again. Stop sharing. All right, we're going to share this one. All right, so that's screen 1. Like I said, if you want a copy of this, go ahead and just let me know. It's only complete 18 slides, so it's not that bad. It says step-by-step instructions, and we will go from there. All right, so there you have it. That was the slideshow. Like I said, if you want a copy of it, please let me know, and we will go from there. Most importantly, the last thing I forgot to tell you guys is make sure that you go ahead and save this workbook. All right. So save it with the changes. And then from here, our next step is we're actually going to give this to a maintenance manager. And we are actually going to figure out what we want to do. All right. So here we go. Without further ado, hope this video was helpful. Like I said, stay tuned. We're going to finish this demand analysis series. And as always, go ordnance. Guys, so I'm First Class V back with another GCS's Army helpful video, and we are currently on step 8 of our demand analysis, and that's providing the Microsoft Excel spreadsheet to the maintenance manager or technician and so forth. All right, so once you're a maintenance manager and you have your spreadsheet in front of you, now you can actually go ahead and look at if we're going to make any changes or recommend changes to the commander before we get the commander's approval to approve or reject. All right, so without further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. All right, so if you didn't watch the previous video, in the previous video, we learned how to format the Microsoft Excel workbook. So here is the Microsoft Excel workbook. Now, when I do this as a maintenance manager, I work with it on the computer and also have a copy in front of me just so I can verify, so I can document any changes. So the first thing I do is I look at the A's, okay? So now you can do this several ways. You can actually go ahead and filter it if you would like, make it a little easier. When we go in and actually, what do you call it? Post our changes, we're going to filter it anyway. So just get in that habit. So these are all of my additions is what it's saying. Okay. So change, boom, standard quantity of consumption 19, boom. So this bracket mounting, right? So this was used for a shortage, and yes, we did consume quite a bit, but I don't think our safety stock needs to be set at 7. So I want that changed, or recommend the change to the commander to 3. Battery non-chargeable. That one's good. Clamp loop. Quantity consumption 7. Reorder point 7. I'm gonna set the reorder point to 2. Really didn't use that many. Stop light vehicular. So right now our consumption was, we used 6 and it's telling us to stock 3. So I'm gonna keep that. That's no issue there. Hose non-metallic. So here I'm changing that to 0. That was just for a one-time project. Antenna. So yeah, we consumed 25, 13. So I want to change this to 5. Recommend the change. Screw cap hexagon. Use 12. Change that to 1. All right, so that's pretty much how I go ahead and I format the Microsoft Excel workbook, and I put in my changes here. So in the next video, we're going to see how we go about confirming, approving, and so forth. But just to all right, so boom, boom, boom. And now if we look, where is blank? Cool. So make sure everything's good. PD. That's all good there. So this process here is pretty simple. When you can actually get into the system, it's a little bit harder. But for ads, now I want to look at retains. So door vehicular, reorder point. We're changing that. That was for a shortage. ZV. So just keep in mind for ZV lines, right? So the only people that can actually prove or go into the system is like your SPO with the roll. There's a certain T code they actually go into. Battery storage, 10, quantity consumption. Yeah, I'll keep that. Coupler air brake 6, quantity consumption 6. I'm gonna drop that to 2. Multimeter. Yeah. Not stock multimeters. All right, pull up all of it. Cool. So sweet. That's you. All right. So from here, I'm just going to go ahead and save. I will probably email this to the commander, and then I'll print one out as well. Like I said, um, once you make the changes that or you recommend your changes, now you're going to provide the Excel spreadsheet to your commander for approval. And basically, he's going to do one or two things. He's either going to approve it or change it or reject it or approve it. All right. So in our instance for this, we're just going to approve and we're going to go from there. So it's very important, right? So once this is done, right? Once we give it to the commander, apply changes required to the commander, and we need to capture the commander's approval. So what I normally do is like I said, I print out the original, I print out this one, and then I'll put the commander's signature block somewhere in here, and he will go ahead and sign. For the purpose of this video, I'll probably just sign it and go from there. All right. So what I like to do is I like to take this, save as PDF. Computer is slow. Convert to PDF. Desktop. Once it opens, I'll add my signature. Well, usually I add the commander signature, but for this purpose of this video, I'm just going to add my signature. But hope this video was helpful. Like I said, it's pretty easy just to review the spreadsheet, see if it makes sense. Couple things to keep in mind, like a few weeks back, I had a unit that did a demand analysis. They consumed like 600 shackles, and there was just a shortage. And then they was trying to say stock 800. You got to use some common sense here, right? So without further ado, go ordnance, and I will see you in the next video. Again, guys, so I'm First Class V back with step 9 of our demand analysis series, and that's process the MRP forecasting requirements for Plant 2000. All right, so like I said in the previous videos, we learned how to export, create the Microsoft Excel documents, give it to the maintenance manager for review, recommend any changes. The commander looks at it, either accepts, rejects, or make changes to this. And now we're actually getting ready to go into the system and actually, I guess, post the differences, if you want to call it, or change. So I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, but on GCSS Army, they have the transaction guide, which is about 90 pages long, right? So there's a lot of steps. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's a lengthy process, but using the Microsoft Excel, we're gonna be using. I want you to remember two things: 0, 1. Okay, so 1 will be true, so forth. All right, so Those two numbers are what we're going to use to actually Control C, Control V into the system and make our changes and speed up the process. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into GCSS Army, and we will go from there. By the way, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I'm always looking for ideas for new videos, so if you have any recommendations or something you want to learn, please keep that in mind. Yeah, go ahead and share my screen here. All right. Come on. Jeremy a little slow today. So by the way, the T code we're going to be using for this is ZCon 1. All right, so keep that in mind. Don't get it confused with ZCon 1 Delta. Yeah, so like I said, this next step is a little bit lengthy, but we will complete this. So ZCon 1, boom. You'll type in your MRP area. You'll hit execute. And it's going to pull up everything that we currently did inside of our Excel workbook. Now, once that's done, right, you're going to click recalculate confirms. All right, so if you look, we recalculated. When the confirm retention deletions are recalculated, the material lines and bench stock indicator are included in the calculation. All right, the initial calculation that is displayed excludes material lines of a bench stock indicator. So if you look here where it says bench stock indicator. All right, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to choose our layout, right? I'm going to choose layout and choose layout. That's the one I want right there. So it should already default. Sometimes it defaults, sometimes it doesn't. All right. So now we're going to scroll a little over to the right. We just want to verify some stuff first. All right. Yeah, that's good. All right. See where it says add, delete, retain. We're going to click that. All right. We're going to hit the little filter button. And we're going to type in R. We'll do our R's first. All right. So here's our R's. Okay. So click the space directly above. Good to go on that. Next thing we want to do is we're going to open up our Microsoft Excel workbook, and we're actually going to go from here. All right. So like I said, make sure you know what you saved it. And go from there. So when we go here to add, delete, retain, we're going to put our filter to R. All right. So this is just going to show our R's. Okay. So click the R, you're going to click the OK. And then from there, you're going to click the horizontal. You go there, display more data if you need to. But the calculated reorder point, all right. So Control Shift down. So you can either do Control C, Control V. I'm going to do Control C. All right. You're going to copy it. And what you're going to do is you're going to go back into the system here. And where's the adjusted column? Click here. All right. So if you get this error, right, the reason is because you need a stock. Come on, man. All right, so we're gonna, once that's done, you Control V, like I said, you'll put that in there. or Alt Tab. Go from here. I'm going to confirm. Going to approve. Select. So 0 deleted, 0 adds, 3 retains. So when we go back into it, if you look, our retains, right? So we're almost there. So we're going to go back and filter again. Set filter. We're going to go to alpha. All right, now pull up our Excel spreadsheet. Like I said, Control C. You'll exit out of that. You'll go to calculated reorder point. All right. We're going to confirm. Going to approve. Hit save. Yes. 7, add records to the table. Boom. We're going to go back in. Now, if you notice, when we're going back in here, right? So see where it says confirmed, deletes, confirmed, confirmed. All right, so just keep that in mind. So, boom, calculate reorder point, 7, 10, 13. I just want to go through this one more time here and make sure that we're confirming. Oh, I hit the wrong button. All right, trying to pull up my Excel. So like I said, yeah, once you confirm, approve, delete, and so forth, right, you have to go back to the MRP area. Like I said, I do it just like that. I export and go from there. So like I said, in this video or this unit didn't really have any deletes. All right, Jeremy, a little slow here. All right, so see, we got one left, which is your door, previous and CV. All right, so all we're going to do is we're going to confirm this, approve, save, boom, one, boom. So now our report should be, why didn't this save? No data found. So there you go. There, our demand analysis and posting our differences from our Excel spreadsheet is complete. So if you go back into it and you still see stuff, it means your demand analysis isn't completely closed out. But like I said, it'll say no data found to process. So everything on the demand analysis has been processed. All right. So this video, like I said, if you have a lot of SSL and all this stuff, it's going to take you a little bit longer. But I encourage you to print out the transaction guide. Like I said, it's 88 pages long, and it breaks it up step by step for add, deletion, retains, and go from there. But yeah, like I said, it could be a long process depending on how much you actually have, right? So that is that. So I hope this video was helpful. Like I said, in near future, we're going to actually print off the commander's reports and so forth, so they can be filed and we can actually get credit for CMDPs for our demand analysis being conducted. Hope this video was helpful. Stay tuned for the last couple videos of the demand analysis series, and from there we will start a new series. As always, go Ordnance. Our First Class V here, back with another GCSS Army helpful video, and we are in step 10 of our demand analysis, and that's to change safety stock quantity requirements through ZSAF. All right, so this is pretty simple. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. This is going to be a fast and quick video. So if you've been following along, we're on step 10 of our demand analysis series. Make sure you go back and catch up before this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that bell to be notified when new videos have been posted. Like I stated before, once we're complete with our demand analysis series, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move into and finish our access admin. We still got about, I think, 15, 16 videos to do in that series. And then from there, we're going to do a full series on dispatching. There's going to be quite a few videos and techniques you can use when it comes to usage and dispatching, off post, on post, so forth. So without further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen with you, and we will go from there. All right, so like I said, your T code is ZSAF. All right, ZSAF. Okay, so the purpose, you're going to perform this transaction when you need to change the safety stock quantity requirements for provisional material in Plant 2000. Okay, this is after you can complete your quarterly forecast and demand analysis for your SSL. Like I said, this is a result of material being deleted from the SSL, or there's a change that needs to be made to the material requirements MRP type. So, for instance, when the commander reviewed, right? So we had that stoplight that we were looking at in a previous video. So he wants that demands or command support or command directed. So he wants to stock that. So we're going to actually change that MRP type to PD to ZM so that we can actually put it in the system that way. All right. So like I said, this is pretty simple. Like I said, most of the time your MRP area, if it's not here, all you have to do, you'll do this and it'll pull open your MRP area for you. All right, so one thing you can do if you have multiple items that you do need to change to ZM or so forth, and just keep in mind your ZM lines can only be 10% of your ZV lines. So if you have 100 ZV lines, you can only have 10% of that, which would be 10 lines. So let's go into our Excel workbook here, and right here, this stoplight, he wants to change this to a ZM. So you can do this multiple ways. You can actually go and you can click it all, and you can actually go back into the GRME system and hit this little button here, and you can add all those at once. So I'm just going to add the stoplight. So like I said, all he wants to do is he wants to change this to ZM, and he's going to keep the safety stock at the same level. All right. And then once you're in there and once you make the changes, right, it's very important that you hit this little box here that says confirmed. And hit the box that confirmed. All right. Once you confirm, you're just going to go ahead and save. So if you look, you'll get an info message here that says records to be extended, records to be changed, updated records and errors. So if you do have an error, it will give you the error. All right. So background job started. So it's running in the background and we're going to be good to go. All right. So once it changes in the background, it'll change. So like I said, this is pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, this is probably one of the easiest things to do with demand analysis. Hope this video was helpful. Stay tuned. We got the last couple of videos on our demand analysis series. So as always, go Ordnance, and y'all have a good day. Sergeant First Class V here, back with another GCSS Army video. So we're on step 11 of our demand analysis series, and today we're going to display and we're going to print the ATF report so we can capture the commander's signature so it can be filed and have it on record. Like I said, this is after we have completed our demand analysis. So if you have not had a chance to go back and watch the previous 10 videos, I encourage you to do so. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, hit that bell, leave a comment down below. If you'd like these resources, PowerPoints, and transaction guides, like I said, leave your email and I'll get that to you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into GCSS Army here. All right. So we're in GCSS Army here. So all we're going to do is type in ZATF. All right. So the only thing you're required to put in here would be your plant and then your MRP area, which is the number we've been working on. All right. So I'm going to display all ATF stocks so I can capture the commander signature for this. All right. So here we are. Once we execute, this here is everything that we're authorizing to stock. So if you look down at the bottom, number of ATF lines 26, number of zero line balances 17, number of lines with stow 0, percentage of zero balance lines 65, and percentage of zero balance lines with stow 0. All right, so like I said, this is pretty self-explanatory here. So this is everything that he is authorizing to stock. All right. So to do this, all you're going to do is hit this little button here that says print. You'll hit the little check mark, and then when I'm on a different screen here, let me drag it over so I can show you. So you can print it like this, or I normally print as PDF. Well, I'll print it actually twice. I'll print it like this and then print one as a PDF. All right. One, and then I'm going to print one as PDF. So my commander can digitally sign it because that's what he prefers. Microsoft print to PDF. Okay. So this is pretty, like I said, pretty self-explanatory here. And then I'm going to show you guys another video on just an example, like a memorandum or something you can do. So. If it ever loads, I can show you the PDF version. It's probably not going to load, but that's how easy it is. So, like I said, if you want to see these resources, stuff in this video, please let me know, and I'll get it back to you. I'm trying to get find out where the PDF saved at, but not sure where it actually saved. Try it again here. I just want to show you guys what it looks like in PDF form. So, by the way, I hope this series was helpful. We're close to finishing this series, so any questions or anything you're concerned about, leave the comments down below, or send me an email. My email and my contact information is in the community tab, along with all of the videos that we currently have completed. So it's all broken up into sections, so it's pretty easy to index and find what you're actually looking for. So without further ado, I'm going to end this video. I can't seem to get Adobe working correctly, but when I go and show you the commander signature on one, I'll show you then. So y'all have a great day, and as always, go Ordnance. RMV here, back with another GCSS Army video. This is part 12 of our series on demand analysis. My previous video, I had a hard time getting up the PDF version to show you how I send it to a commander. But in this video, I'm just going to show you how to set up the PDF and, for digital signature and so forth. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this right here, and I'm going to show you what I've done. All right, so basically what I do is I showed you guys how to print your ATF reports. I print to Adobe, and then this first portion here is what populates. So the next thing I add is the date, ATF report, and the MRP area that I'm currently working. Now, if you remember when we went to print it, this information down here, number of lines, all that stuff was actually on the website or the screen. So I just use my snip tool and I snip it, and this is how I let the commander know. So like I said, insert a signature block here, and you can just double click and he can sign it, and you are good for CMDP purposes. So CMDP purposes, just keep in mind you have to keep your demand analysis file until the next demand analysis. So hope this video was helpful. Like I said, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Please leave some new ideas, some things you want to learn, some things you want to explore down in the comments section down below. And as always, go Ordnance. Hey, what's going on, guys? So I'm First Class V, back with another GCSS Army helpful video. And today we're on part 13 of our demand analysis series with maintain material master MRP ZV lines using Zulu Mike 02 Fox as our T code. Now keep in mind this is a SPO function, so if you need to adjust or anything like that, you need to contact them. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that bell to be notified when new videos drop. We are a few videos away from finishing this series, then moving back into our Access Administrative series, finishing up hopefully by the end of next week. And then we'll be moving into dispatching and so forth. So without further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen. Let's hop into GArmy here. All right. So, like I said, we're going to maintain material master MRP. We're going to adjust some ZV line stuff today, all right? So, just keep in mind, this is a SPO function. Like I said, your T code is Zulu Mike 02 Fox. All right, so a few key things you're going to need to know. You're going to need to know the material, the plant, and the MRP area, okay? So just keep that in mind. That's you can't do any of this without any of that. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, like I've already preset it, we're going to be working on this material. We're in plant 2000 and of course our MRP area. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to hit execute. So it's going to bring you to a screen where it's going to show you the MRP area and the forecasting data for the material that's going to be modified. So if you look, we have a ZV line here with a reorder point of 6. All right. So in your safety stock, we have nothing here, which you understand the difference between safety stock and reorder points. You haven't had a chance to look at that, go back to my shop stock, bench stock series, and you can find that information there. So I had a unit reach out to me and saying they needed some stuff adjusted, and we're going to adjust it. So this was actually a deletion. It did not populate in the system, but PD line, and we're going to take that off, and we're just going to hit save. And when we do that, it says data for MRP area has changed. Okay, so just to show you some quick things here, there's quite a bit you can do from the screen. So if you keep the same here, you're going to hit MRP data. Like I said, this is the new MRP data that we just changed. You can hit forecast data, forecast model. Now when you click on this,
weight moving average. Okay, so this is constant. There's different variables in here that you can actually look at. Historical period 60, forecast period is 12, periods per session 12. All right, so you can look at that. You can also, let me go back. You can also reset parameters if you need to. What's really cool is your consumption value. So here it'll show you all the consumptions for that material. So like if you look, April we had 2 and nothing since. All right, and then if you have some material that can be transferred consumptions, then you can actually do it right from here. Like I said, sometimes materials will have like a substitution or superstition. You can actually adjust the consumptions from one to another. All right. So, like I said, that you can actually copy your consumption history from an obsolete part. Let's say that this part is not continued, right? But then you have the new part, the new NSN, you can copy the consumption for the old part to the new part, so that you still save and build that analysis and that demand, all right? So yeah, this screen's pretty simple. We're gonna go ahead and do we'll do a couple more. We're gonna do this one. Material plant, your MRP, just gonna hit execute. So it's a ZV line, and all they want is the reorder point brought down to 2, right? You hit save, and like I said, it'll say data for MRP area has changed. And if you want to verify it, just hit the MRP. Yeah, I'm about yeah, right. Change. What is going on with my computer here? All right, let's do one more. Let me do the wheel. Where's the wheel? All right, we're putting the wheel. Going to execute, and we are not going to have our reorder point at 21. They want it set at 5. All right, so we're going to set it at 5. And here we go. MRP area change. So like I said, if you want to verify their change, just hit MRP data, boom. So a lot of the issues that I'm having with this is units have conducted their inventories, their analysis, and now they're flooding the Z Park with the 999 reservations for the shop stock and so forth, right? So a lot of units don't realize that on their mat sit, they may have a bunch of ZV lines but have 0 on hand, and they're not pulling it on their mat sit. They're not displaying all 0 stocks as well. So in my battalion, we're having an issue with the 0 stocks. You know, they're constantly reordering, trying to fill that shortage in the STO. It's also going to bring, you know, their lines, 0 balance lines down. But just keep in mind that if you have a part that's reoccurring and coming in and coming in and coming in, you need to contact your SPO, because it could be one or two things. It could be a open reservation somewhere in the system, something that's forcing it to reorder, or it may be a ZV line with a reorder point that's so high or so out of whack that it's going to keep reordering. So this is a way that you can adjust that. And like I said, if that doesn't work, there's other areas in here you can go into and you can fix. All right. There's a manual installation by the systems. So you can switch it. But like I said, I hope this video is helpful. This was one of our final videos that we're going to be doing for on-demand analysis. So if you haven't had a chance, make sure you go back and watch the previous videos, and we'll go from there. So as always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Go Ordnance, and I'll see you when we finish this series. Again, guys, so I'm First Class V, back with our final video for demand analysis with part 14 or step 14, however you want to call it, on how to do mass MRP area updates using Zulu Mike to Fox. So this is a SPO function, so just keep that in mind. When we talk about ZV lines, the only person that can adjust stock levels and so forth is your SPO. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into GCSS Army here. Let me share my screen, and we're going to get started. All right, so once we're here, like I told you, the T code is Zulu Mike 02 Fox. That is our T code. All right, so this is the main screen here for maintain material master MRP area. All right, so like I said, you can use this transaction to perform a mass change of material requirements type, and you can clear safety stock quantity requirements and forecast model materials. Okay, so there's a lot you can do from here. So let's get started here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to click on Plant 2000 Shop Stock Update. All right. So you need to know your MRP area, which is 0.3. P. And now let me pull up my spreadsheet here. Got to change these. Control C. So you can add this stuff to a clipboard, so forth. But all right. All right. So if you noticed, what I just did was I put in the MRP area, the first material, what I'm changing it to, and then click this button and I'm able to actually hyperlink the rest. All right. Oop, kicked out here. This one in. E, execute, execute. All right. So once you're here, all you're going to do is my mic working? What is going on here? All right. So once you execute, all right, all you can do is background, submit in background. All right. Now, once you do this, material plant, blah, 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 you'll get that little message. All you're gonna do is hit the check mark, and you're actually going to be processing all those mass changes from ZV to PD or vice versa, however you are, or what you're trying to do, you can do right from there. Now, to verify that it's gone, all you gotta do is go to Systems, go to Own Jobs, and let me show you, it popped up on the other side of the screen. Hold on a second here. And you'll see MRP forecast requirements finished. That's pretty much it. Like I said, you can review the completion right from here. Yeah, SMX, if you haven't noticed, we've used this several times. You can either stop, delete jobs, and so forth. This is like your history, though, of what you've actually ran and things like that. So that's a pretty simple process to do. Mass changes. You don't have to go through one by one. Yeah, so hope you like this video. Hope you like this series. The demand analysis series is finally complete. So we will be moving into our next series once we finish the access administrative, which is going to be dispatching and recoverables. So hope you like this video. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And as always, go Ordnance.